Okay, right here in Winchester. And Zach works out there, and he was very impressed with the marketing. He was very impressed with the way the different things that they were doing that sort of set them apart from all of the other gyms in the area. And there are a lot of other gyms in the area. If there's something that suburbanites love to do, it's to buy a gym membership and not use it. And so, a lot of us are doing it. There are several gyms that are in the area, and Zach chose Crunch Fitness for a reason. There was a friend of us that while they were commuting through Hemet every day, they stop at Crunch Fitness and they work out there. And I think that they're bringing community back in a lot of different ways. And so Kate has our official introduction for Ginny Mae, and she's going to bring that to you guys here right now.
Got over 33 years of experience in the business. She is the owner and operator of Crunch Fitness here in French Valley in Winchester for the last 5 years. And she is the 2006 bodybuilding title, Miss Colorado. And welcome, Miss Ginny Mae.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
I appreciate it.
What a surprise. So means a lot.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
this is the second episode back here with Wednesday Wake Up Live, and we were going through a short list of people that we wanted to have on, and we wanted to have people that were more than just kind of involved with the community. We wanted people that were staples here in Winchester, and so can you let people know what you're doing at Crunch Fitness and what separates you guys a little bit from everybody else?
Absolutely. But first of all, thank you. It's an honor to be here with you guys. And for you guys to pick us, it means a lot.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you.
So going back to what sets us apart, you know what? We're a family-owned gym. So it's really important to anybody that walks through our front door to really treat them like family.
Mm-hmm.
We all have goals. Everybody that walks through the door, and they're all different.
Yeah.
So, our heart and passion is to really help guide people and get them there the safest, fastest way possible.
The safest, fastest way possible. And I feel like that's an important distinction to make for a lot of people in the fitness community, because there's sort of a lot of get-rich-quick schemes out there when it comes to fitness. And there's a lot of unhealthy fast tracks, and especially in a consumer culture like we're in right now, people want it now. And how are people saying? I'm sorry, I get long-winded. I'm very interested.
Go ahead. I love it.
What got you into fitness? Because there's always a heart behind something like this. What got you into fitness?
Passion. You know what? So it also, I'm going to blame my brothers on this. I have 2 brothers. I was right in the middle of them, and extreme athletes. And so to keep up with them and survive my childhood, I started lifting weights.
Yeah.
And so back in the day, I was really one of the only females in the weight room in high school. I'll never forget my best friend to this day. I was in the weight room and I looked at her and I'm like, Diana, I'm going to own my own gym one day. She looked at me like it was crazy. And just having that press on my heart at that age was pretty amazing. And, so I was a powerlifter. That's how I started. And then at 18, I switched over to bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And it just, I fell in love with the sport. But most of all, to get into the industry, I love people.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't teach it, I think that's what Crunch is all about too.
Yeah.
It's not like a corporate, just everybody's a number.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? The people that are involved and my partners and everybody, we really care about individuals and love people and try to make that difference in their lives. So, I started, at ground level in the industry as a kids club supervisor and worked myself up.
How cool.
Hard knocks. I was a single mom.
Yes.
And, we'll do whatever it takes to provide for our kiddos. And it was a lot of hours and I, had to prove who I was and just grew from there.
You said a couple of things there that are really crucial to me and that I preach as a business owner. And there's this great book out there. It's called Struggle Well. And there's Joshua Goldberg pinned it with Ken Falke. And he set out to interview the top 30 most influential people that he could think of. And the top distinguishing trait that they all carried was that they could not distinguish between what they loved to do and what they were getting paid to do. And so you started with your heart. You said, I was a single mom. And I think that a lot of people that run heart-centered businesses get trampled on and looked down on sometimes by the corporate sort of nature of like, no, it's transactions. It's about numbers. It's about how many people you signed up. And what happens is in real estate, in fitness, in schooling, in the medical world, people get lost to numbers. People get lost to dollar signs. And so when you stop serving a person and you start looking at a transaction, and when you start looking at a number and you stop looking at a person who has real fitness goals that are important to them, it's not just about the superficiality of it. It's about keeping people alive.
That's it.
Giving people that positive self-image.
Absolutely. And and the thing is, we don't only, we work with all types and of individuals, not only athletes. Majority, 80% are people that are really, want to lose weight or have health issues and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We want to keep them out of the hospital.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you one story after another of just the people that really, I think, more like touched my life versus me touching theirs. But it's just how they walk in broken, and in 6 months, a year, they're a total different human being.
Yes.
So how powerful that is, and what an honor to be able to share that with them.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps, I'm still, I wake up in the morning, I'm still excited.
Yeah.
To do what I do.
And I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it behind you. I can see that you're getting emotional just feeling it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the thing is there's this Zen principle. And a lot of people look at Zen like it's this sort of like heartless thing that is just sort of like very cold and calculated. But the experience of nirvana, of I don't have to go anywhere, the blown out state. And then the next thing is not sitting up on top of that mountain, but putting your hand on the heart of humanity and serving other sentient human beings. And that's called bodhicitta. And we don't talk about that so much.
We don't.
And so what I love that you said, and words are so important. I just got done reading a book called The Four Agreements by, who was it that wrote this? Don Miguel Ruiz. And the first agreement that he talks about is being impeccable with your word. We lie to ourselves 7 to 8 times a day. And so when we start being a little bit more careful about the things that are coming out of our mouths, we can really start being more intentional with our lives. And what you said was, the first thing that I said to my friend was, I'm going to own my own gym someday. And that didn't get lost on me. You said, I'm going to own my own gym someday. I was a single mother. I was working at the kids club at a gym. And here you are. And I've got goosebumps just thinking about it. You put it out there. You stated it to be true. And then you work towards it. I bet it was all cupcakes. I bet it was all easy, right? Once you stated it to be true, right?
What a roller coaster. But you know what? I would do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you look incredible.
Thank you so much.
You're doing a great job. And it's very
Thank
interesting
you.
to see people that own gyms that practice what they preach. And I'm not trying to come down on anybody, but in the real estate industry, there's a lot of real estate coaches out there that are telling people to take a full day off, and they're not taking a full day off. There's a lot of fat people that own gyms, and I'm not looking down on everybody. Some people genuinely have medical conditions, but for a lot of us, we're wearing pain. And I can tell you that when my body shut down and when my leg, when I was unable to use it the way that I had been using it previously, when I was overweight and I was in pain and I was sad, I was wearing it. I was walking around wearing this trauma on my body.
And you know what? It's happened to me. I've been a roller coaster in regards to my weight.
Yes.
I had health issues, and not too long ago, they put me on medical leave. It's just like, enough already. So we can, and the weight, my heaviest was 212, and I wasn't pregnant.
Yeah.
So, I'll take that on too, because, I had to go through that process to be able to be relatable to others. You know what I mean?
The transformation.
That is. It's like, Big Daddy upstairs knows. I was like, okay, I got this. Go ahead and give it to me. Let me go ahead and get through this and conquer it. So then I'll be able to really impact others that think that they don't have any way to get out of it, and they don't think that they can lose that weight.
Yeah.
We just put too much power on weight.
Yeah.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
We just need to be just own your body and just be thankful for it, and let's get it to the next level.
And here's the truth. And I'm not telling you to go out and become a bodybuilder unless it's on your heart. And you want to become a bodybuilder, I'm not going to deny you that either. But the biggest thing that I would really love to put out there is don't let other people define you. And so you have to learn to love yourself at the state that you are at, and accept yourself at the state that you are at before you ever hope to make any sort of real change. And a lot of people learn to love themselves in the gutter, and they learn to accept themselves in the gutter. And then the real change comes, and the foundational change comes because they realize they don't want to go back there. And so some of us have to spend some time in the gutter. And that's why I love, I tell people my weight fluctuates like the stock market.
Right.
I'm just
a
like
lot of us can say that.
this, you know what I mean?
Right.
And next thing you know, I'm like this. And then people are commenting on somebody commented on my live feed the other day. They said, oh, Serpa, you're getting a little bit chubby or whatnot. I'm like, excuse me. I drank a lot of water. I'm retaining a lot. I had a salty day yesterday, but love yourself. Accept who you are. Your body is different than everybody else's body. Your brain works different than everyone else's brain. And so to judge yourself by this broken litmus test of looking at the person next to you, that's not the path that you were meant to walk. So if somebody wants to get involved in fitness, let's say somebody's sitting at home right now, or they're driving in their car and they're watching this on their video, just turn on the audio. You don't have to watch us to be safe, or let your Tesla drive you. And they're saying, you know what, I haven't been to the gym in a while. I don't particularly want to go to the gym. Everybody's going to start a New Year's resolution here in like 2 weeks, and it's going to be crowded with a bunch of people. I don't want to have to fight for a treadmill. My God, what do I have to do here to get my freaking self in shape? Should they come out to a gym? Or should they just climb the stairs at home? Should they go see a professional? Or should they walk their own path? And that's kind of a decision that they need to make. And what's the difference between doing it at home to P90X and flopping around in your front room, or coming into the gym and being with that community?
We're all different.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is I would love for them to come through my doors, obviously. So I have the opportunity to be able to help them, but do what works for you.
Yeah.
There's nothing like going into a community. And, one thing that I pride myself on is my team, their heart is where it needs to be, and they're there to serve. And so anybody would be in great hands walking through our doors and feeling
That's
comfortable.
awesome.
You don't have to be fit to get there. We all have, there's no judgment. That's what we're all about in Crunch. That's what we stand by. So everybody pretty much feels comfortable, but nothing's like to have, sit down with a coach and have a roadmap. It's not only a workout, nutrition is 70% of it.
Yeah.
So you have a team behind you to, for accountability purposes, for motivation. We all need that. I've been, like I said, been in the field 33. I still need that.
Sure.
I've been a coach and I have a coach. So it's
Isn't that interesting?
I have a trainer that, it's like, Ginny, get out of the seat because, and let's go.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a benefit for it, everybody.
There's a lot of lone wolves out there, and they like to do the lone wolf thing. And there is a certain amount of real change that starts internally, that starts here. I feel like the echo here is just driving me a little bit nuts. There is a little bit of that is real internal change, that an accountability will never really help until you've made that real decision. But the biggest problem that a lot of people don't know is they don't know what they don't know.
That's true.
And so until you can be exposed to a different form of thought, until you can be exposed to a way to better attract your goals, because one of the big things that I was doing when I was working out was I was working out, I was doing everything that I needed to do, but then I would eat whatever I wanted to eat. You know what I mean?
How was your results?
Oh, and they were like this, because I would have these peaks where I would just do whatever, and then I would hit, and I couldn't get past a certain number. And I thought I was doing things for the most part, but then I started looking at what I was really eating and what I was really drinking, and I was like, I'm drinking a lot of chocolate soy milk.
Like, that might not.
And so,
it's amazing when that accountability, like we have a program that actually tracks it. You
Yeah.
log your food in and to ensure that you have a deficit every day, because if you don't, you won't lose weight.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that accountability piece too. We don't realize what we put in our mouth if we don't track it.
Yep.
And the calories do add up.
Yeah.
So with our team, we help our members and clients really own that piece. And you know what? We're all different. Again, that switch needs to be, you have to be committed to make that change.
Absolutely.
So, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kate.
No, I was just say, you know what is so interesting about all of this is you can genuinely feel it and hear it, that you truly you and your team have a connection with each and every member that walks through that door, and that's
We really
so
try
apparent. And I
to.
think that's really probably why you've been so successful and why we hear such great things about your gym.
And it's so funny too, because Zach will buy these shirts that you guys sell.
I love your shirts.
And he will,
That's
you
all
want to do that really quick?
We love having you wear our shirts.
So,
Great.
so Zach wears these shirts, and you might want to come over here really quick. And what was really funny about it was, no, just go and sit down over there, Zach. Here, we'll just bring this up. That way we can see Zach. So Zach wears these shirts, and he loves Crunch Fitness. And he says, oh, David, you've got to check this thing out. It's unlike anything that anyone else is doing. We've got to have Ginny and her team on. Ginny and her team on. And so tell me, Zach, what was it about?
Like the Group X program of like edgy classes, things like that. Creating like those, that fun environment. So like stepping over the edge a little bit,
That makes
but
it fun.
they make it fun, and different.
And it probably attracts a bunch of different demographics as
Absolutely.
well.
My
So
dad,
brilliant.
I could tell you right now, my dad's falling in love with you right now. My dad is he's sitting at home. He's probably watching this. And because my dad is he loved fitness, or all to this day. So he owns a running company called Troy's California Trail Runs. And they have these big events, and they have hundreds of people out there running. My dad did these 100-mile endurance runs. And one of the most interesting things that he told me about it, he said, the hardest thing for me to do was to do Angela's Crest the second time, to do this 100-mile endurance run the second time, because I knew what it was going to cost me. And I think that that's one of the biggest lessons about physical fitness is when we fall out of shape after having gotten into shape the first time, we know the toll that it's going to take. We know the grind.
Well, and for example, I took my title in 2006.
Yeah.
I was 7% body fat on stage. And for a woman, that's pretty low. And but then after that, again, life hit. It got heavy, and it's humbling. And knowing it's just like flipping that switch back on, and knowing that just how you stated that was beautiful. And it's like, I know what I'm up against, and that's the toughest part. And that's what probably took me some time to get back and fully committed to.
And in 2006, what was that title that you won?
Miss Colorado.
Miss Colorado.
Yeah.
Miss Colorado 2006. I think that's phenomenal. That's really phenomenal. That's no joke.
And that's another thing I said, you know what, I'm going to take it. March of 2006, I was at 34% body fat. Was going through a divorce.
Yeah.
I looked at my friend. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to compete in November. I've been talking about it for 20 years. I'm going to get up there. People,
That's awesome.
And I'm like, I'm going to take that title. And she's like, okay, Ginny, and a few months later,
yeah,
I did. So
we have a good friend of ours that competed in pageants, and Ivy Hope owned her own titles, and they paraded her around, and it was a very competitive thing. And the thing that people don't realize is those are competitive. It's no joke.
It isn't.
Yeah, you can't just go out there and just jump in the first time, and then there are things that you need to learn about the pageant world.
No, I'm sure, and just like the fitness industry as well, and just going up there and it wasn't being boastful or whatever, and just cocky, or I would say like I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
But you got to have that confidence within yourself and shoot for something and for it to happen for you. So it was very competitive.
Yeah.
I went against like the athletes. Every woman up there could have won that show, and that was an honor just to be on stage with them.
So let's give some quick fitness tips to people that are at home, that are watching the show. So from Ginny Mae, who was Miss Colorado. Ginny Mae, I'm sorry, I read your name.
People call me because it's spelled differently.
Yeah.
So Ginny.
Ginny,
You know
Ginny,
how- it doesn't
Gen,
matter.
Jen.
It's fine.
So from Ginny Mae, the 2006 California or Miss Colorado. And what are some tips that can get people started right now that maybe they don't realize that they're doing that can help get them started on the right path? Because we have viewership. People right now are watching all over the country. I think we have 20 something people that are watching live, or we're watching live. Maybe before Zach got really angry at me for saying something. Okay, so what are some tips that people can get started on right now to start making healthy choices?
I think the first thing is the mindset. Choose that this is something you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Own your body the way it is right now,
Mm-hmm.
and be thankful for it.
Sure.
And then, with that being said, just go and like anywhere, go to a gym, because you do have that support and the education piece and the team that will be able to help you.
Yeah.
If that's something that will not work, and like you said, do something at home.
Sure.
Just start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And just get your body moving.
Yeah.
In the nutrition piece, just log your food.
Yeah.
And choose different, healthier choices.
Mm-hmm. There's a great SNL sketch, and it was like, eat less, move more. And I think
Well, it's true. It's that simple. But
Yeah.
the thing is, it first starts, what you want and,
Mhm.
and your choice of wanting to be better
Yeah.
and just
There you
being
go.
healthier.
Yeah.
And so I don't believe in diets. They don't work. They don't. So
Can you get a better pitch for a gym than that? I don't believe in diets. They don't work. All right, I'm ready to sign up. So what do you mean by that? You don't believe in diets? They don't work.
I don't. I believe in healthy choices.
Okay.
Because the roller coaster that we just talked about
Yeah.
in regards to, and then it's setting yourself up to fail. And, after, you try, all protein, no carbs. I mean, there's so many different things out
Sure.
there, and
The
we're all
fad diets.
different. So the thing is, what works for your body. So, let's figure that out. Because
Yeah.
we're all so different.
Yeah.
But having that great energy throughout the day and just feeling comfortable in your skin,
Yeah.
you can't put a price tag on that,
Agreed.
and like I said, we're all so different. So push your body to its best.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
We have a question real quick from Amy. She's asking, do you do hot yoga classes or yoga classes?
We
fitness
do
classes?
yoga. We do yoga. We don't do hot yoga.
Okay.
But my instructors are absolutely amazing. So we do have classes through the week. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. So if you would like to join Crunch Fitness here in Winchester, feel free to reach out to Ginny Mae.
And I want to offer something real quick.
Please.
Anybody that is watching that wants to join, just come see me. I'll waive enrollment fees. Your first one's dues. So we'll be $0 to get you started through them. So Merry Christmas.
Awesome.
And then dues will start next year, 2020.
There you go. Get out ahead of it. Instead of dreading January when you're going to start working off these holiday pounds, just don't do it to yourself.
Nope.
Just don't do it to yourself. Get started right now. And then that way you'll have a treadmill that feels like your treadmill already when everybody starts getting started in January. Thank you so much, Jenny. I appreciate you coming onto the show.
Thanks for having me.
And then we'll go ahead and we'll bring Mr. Zach Bach back on. So guys, that's $0 enrollment to get started with Crunch Fitness here in Winchester between now and January. So if you guys are interested, it's very nice to have Ginny here as a friend of the show. So we're going to bring Zach Bach right back on. Zach Bach is back. And Zach, everything just comes out of my mouth. And I'm not going to recap what I said here. We'll go ahead and we'll get it edited out. There were only like 3 people watching at that time. But I'm going to need a list from Zach from the things that I'm not allowed to say. Because you give me a list every week. Every week we have a big thing. Okay, so the big discussion shifted. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, let's do our local expert.
Oh, yeah.
What time is it right now?
Local expert shout
We're
out.
actually right on time.
Are we? Good.
Yeah. Okay, so a big shout out to, first, let's go ahead and, Amy Serpa said, love your mindset on fitness, Ginny. See you soon. Okay, let's get on to the next topic, shift in consciousness. Let's see if I could get shift in consciousness spelled correctly without spell check. Okay. So this was something that we wanted to get put as kind of an early topic here in the show. Zach has gone through his struggles. I have gone through my struggles. Kate is been Zen way before she, we even had the words for what Zen was. So we've been doing a lot of reading as a unit. We've been doing a lot of self-discovery, and there's something happening, and you can't deny it. Oprah started her podcast that is 100% geared towards raising the shift in consciousness. She's had people like Eckhart Tolle, Cheryl Strayed, Don Miguel Ruiz on the show, Deepak Chopra,
Paulo Coelho, a lot of really, really influential spiritual leaders and just intellects talking about this very subject, awareness and consciousness and the shift in everything that we're all feeling.
So for those of you that are not watching in California, what is a shift in consciousness?
Shift in consciousness is you being aware that you're aware, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It is stepping outside of what you normally feel as your awareness and really sitting with it. And honestly seeing that there is, on a fundamental level, on a foundational level within your core, something that you feel is changing within you to a more peaceful, centered place. At least that's what it is to me, and I think it's something different for everybody.
So I think that throughout the course of our lives, whether we pick up this negative programming through DNA or we pick it up through our nature, we start reacting negatively a lot of times, or we start reacting to our life or to stimulus around us, and we just live without even being aware of the decisions that we're making. Mm-hmm. And these decisions are shaping our lives. They are shaping our children's lives. And so this choice to be conscious, this choice to be better than the person that you were yesterday, and to just respond to your surroundings, has been brought about for me through post-traumatic growth, through my reading, through the power of now, through Tiny Beautiful Things, the 4 Agreements, several different books that I read that helped me to discover that there was this different way of thinking, that maybe that I wasn't so broken, that maybe that I was now more prepared than ever to live the life that was set out for me to live.
I don't necessarily think that it's not that you weren't broken. I think it's that everybody's broken, and everybody doesn't realize just how broken they are. And everybody wants to, and social media is a big part of this, is we see everybody's life on Facebook and Instagram, and it's all these perfect people with their perfect lives, and nothing's ever going wrong, and everybody looks perfect all the time. And they take selfies, and the selfies look perfect because they have filters, and it's a Snapchat filter with an Instagram filter with a this filter with a that filter, and everybody's still afraid of not portraying the perfect image of themselves to the world, that everybody goes, well, everybody else is perfect, so I have to be perfect. Mm-hmm. And I better internalize the parts of me that aren't perfect, because I can't show that to the world. Because if we show that we're not perfect to the world, what are people going to think about us? And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've realized, especially recently. And we were joking about this the other day, that it's when you start going through some of the stuff, you start looking at other people. And I felt like Oprah Winfrey going like, she's like, and you get a car, and you get a car, and I'm like, and you have an insecurity, and you have an insecurity. Mm-hmm. And it's a very different when you start looking at people going, this person that just cut me off in traffic and flipped me off or did whatever, they're not angry at me. They're not angry at me. They have some stuff that, the reason that they're so angry is because, they have X, Y, and Z. My dad had an interesting, my dad used to be a very angry person. I remember watching my dad get in fights. Yeah. And until my dad got gasoline thrown on him and got lit on fire. Wow. By somebody over road rage. This guy dumped gasoline. My dad has burn marks. And then I remember, when I was younger, I remember this guy cut my dad off, and we came to a stoplight in Cameron Park, and the guy gets out of his truck and wants to fight my dad. And my dad looks at him and goes, your son is in your truck and my son is in my truck. Why do you want to fight me right now? Yeah. And I was like, wow. Yeah.
I think we get an opportunity to learn some of these lessons and to pass some of them on. And I remember for me, a big lesson for me was I moved from Northern California, where everyone's getting in fights at stop signs and stuff like that, to Southern California, where things are a little bit more grave when these things happen. And I was playing basketball at North Hollywood, and I was playing with a bunch of guys that could probably kick my butt. You know what I mean? And we're playing basketball, and I was getting very frustrated. And I was getting very chesty with people, and I ended up throwing the ball at this guy and saying, you want to fight, whatnot. And he picked up the ball and he handed it to me, and he was just like, "Relax. You want to play basketball?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, relax.
Yeah.
Do you want to play basketball? Like, why are you so angry? And the thing is, it had nothing to do with him. I had a lot of things going on in my own life. And so not taking it personally. That's, I think, the second or third of the 4 agreements is in this book called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Do not take it personally. Other people's bullcrap does not belong to you as much as they want to project it onto you. And so if you do not internalize it, if they pass it on to you, then it makes your life just a little bit easier.
Well, so much of it is fear-based.
Mhm.
Either live your life in fear, or you can live your life in love. And I think because so naturally, biologically, we are wired to run from fear, to remove the fear. You know what I mean? We don't like it. We naturally repel it. So it makes it difficult to really be still and really hear what it is that is the best thing for you, and to not do it from a place of fear. It's a really difficult thing to do, and it does not happen overnight.
One of the biggest things for me to realize while reading the 4 agreements, I thought I was like, I have a broken fear barometer. I am never scared of anything. Was to realize that I'm actually scared quite a lot. I do live my life with a great deal of fear because I am not. It's the way that I'm acting when I'm afraid. And so I was not choosing love. I was choosing control. I was not choosing love and acceptance of the present moment. I was choosing to fight against the present moment as hard as possible, to try to hold on to something or to try to create something artificial. And it really was not until I started giving myself to everything, but to say, hey, you know what? To exist is to love and to be present. And to fight against that is death, not death later. People that live terrified of death are really living dead.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Bach, you have final thoughts on the shift in consciousness before I move on to my next soapbox?
I was reading an interesting book last night. It's called Overcoming Obtrusive Thoughts, because I've been reading a lot about brain and stuff like that, and that's actually one of the identified obtrusive thoughts, and one of the hardest ones to overcome is people that are so fixated on death that they're constantly worried about it. And this whole book is about overcoming stuff like that. And it's just very interesting when you start reading about the brain, about overcoming really a negative mindset as a whole, because a lot of people have a very negative mindset.
If you are watching this video on Facebook, please make sure to like the Wednesday Wake Up Live. If you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to smash that subscribe button. And buy my book, Zen Business, which will be out here likely in January.
What about the Machine Gunner's Guide to Real Estate?
Well, that's not what I'm promoting anymore. If you want to, there's a reason why I have not deleted that book. It's still full of valuable information. But if you want to hear me have a nervous breakdown on recording, we can do that too.
It's not a nervous breakdown. It's a very enlightening book. If you wanted to read something that's real, read that.
Okay, so this is my soapbox. A friend of mine posted on her Facebook page that down in San Diego recently, a group of special education students were, you know what, let me go ahead and change this to my soapbox. Serpa's soapbox. I'm sorry that you guys all have to listen to this, but it is important. Okay, here we go. Serpa soapbox. I had a friend of mine that is down in San Diego. She said that she went to a Christmas performance of her kids recently, and that the special education students were excluded from performing in this performance. Now, this isn't a big deal that we don't need to go down there and start rioting or setting things on fire. But what I would encourage you to do is to stop looking at these children like they are so much different than our neurotypical children. Kids that are in special education want to be loved and accepted by their community. They want their parents to be proud of them, just like neurotypical children. They deserve the opportunity to decide whether or not they want to participate in these Christmas events. They deserve the opportunity to participate in arts and in schools or in classes with their neurotypical counterparts. The problem with special education is not the wonderful special education teachers that exist in just about every class or every school in America. The problem is the way that special education children are being received by us, by the authority figures. We have started looking at things like Down syndrome, things like autism, like it should be tucked away and hidden from the rest of us, instead of giving our children the opportunity to support and nurture one another in a classroom environment. This will only encourage us as adults to support and encourage our counterparts with autism, with Down syndrome, when they become adults. We can't continue to tuck away people that are of value to humanity because they exist. Not because they owe you something, not because it is going to contribute more financially to a society, which it will, but because they are human beings and because they are worthy of love and because it is the right thing to do to include them in our Christmas events, in our communities, and in our classrooms. Because why should we tuck away anyone? Everyone is worth love. Everyone. When did we start defining who is and is not capable or worth receiving love? One of the worst things that I constantly hear about children on the autism spectrum by people that are outside of living with autistic children around them is that, oh, well, they don't know any better. Oh, they don't feel it. Oh, they don't understand. They don't this, they don't that. Until you have lived with an autistic child, until you have had a family member that is nonverbal, until you have loved somebody that is mentally handicapped or have been loved by someone who is mentally handicapped, you should probably keep your big mouth shut and your closed mouth or closed mind out of the debate and out of the argument, because it doesn't belong there. That's my soapbox for this Wednesday Wake Up Live. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for another week of the Wednesday Wake Up Live. My name is David Serpa.
Zachary Bach.
Katie Serpa.
Please feel free to share this video out to everybody. Please feel free to watch it from the beginning. Today we discussed our nonprofit of the week, Triple B Adventures and Brady B. Pasola. We told us to send us your real estate horror stories. We want to hear them. Put them on your phone, send them into the show through Facebook Messenger. We had Ginny Mae, the 2006 Miss Colorado, and owner of Crunch Fitness here in Winchester, and to talk about her journey that started with saying, I am going to own a gym someday. We had our shout out to our local expert, Leo Robles, who has experienced his own shift in consciousness. He is a great guy, a mentor in the real estate community, and he has been encouraging me to read certain books. He's a vegetarian, he's a vegan, he's been a vegan for 10 years. Not that I'm going to look down on any of my meat-eating friends, but he is a good human being. He puts good energy consistently out into the world. And so I wanted to throw a little bit of good energy his way. We had our big discussion with our shift in consciousness. We talked about the books that we are reading. We also talked about our local Christmas events that are happening and told you about what is still going on in Temecula. I hopped on my soapbox and I gave you my opinions on special education here in this country. And we all had a very good time here on the show. So thank you very much for tuning in. Everybody have a very great week, and we'll see you next week at our normal time at 10 o'clock a.m. on Wednesday for the Wednesday Wake Up Live. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye, guys.